All right, so CNN has impressed me, I've got to say. They're about a year late with telling us what we already know, but better late than never, I guess. Can weight loss help protect against COVID 19? CNN asks. Well, geez, I think it's been about a year we've been pointing this out. It's been about a year of people pointing out that nearly 80% of people hospitalized with COVID are overweight or obese. And the CDC just actually came out with the data on younger people being hospitalized, and 60% of hospitalized teens had severe obesity. Not just a little extra fat here and there, but severe obesity. Now, if you add in those who are just obese or overweight, I'm sure that number grows to even higher. Admittedly, I don't know by how much, but I'm sure it's a good amount. But the study also found that kids aged 5 to 11 years old who were hospitalized, 33.6% of them had severe obesity. Again, not just obese, not just chunky, severe obesity. And again, if you add in those who were just overweight or verging on obesity, I'm sure that number goes up as well. But this is not shocking news that came out of nowhere that no one was expecting. This is easily predictable by anyone with even an ounce of perception. But I guess it's still a question over at CNN. But at least they're pondering it now. At least it's on the table as something worth considering. And I guess I consider that progress of a kind. But given this obvious news, I don't really want to call it news, that presumes that it's new. But considering it, I refuse to be beat over the head with the numbers of hospitalizations in hospitals at or near capacity anymore, and have a finger stuck in my face about a booster shot I better get lest I be accused of being a part of some problem. Because generally the people screaming at you about not doing your part to take the pressure off hospitals are the same people who would be aghast if you even mention that it might be beneficial for overweight and obese people to start taking their health seriously. And you know what? They, the overweight, have the most potential by far in terms of taking the pressure off the healthcare system. To point this out is heresy to a lot of the people who scream all day and night about vaccines and boosters. Until, well, at least a little bit until now. As I said, CNN finally comes out and says what we've known for quite some time now. Weight loss can help protect against COVID, and it can definitely cause the probability that you're ever hospitalized because of COVID to absolutely plummet. It won't go to zero, nothing will make it go to zero, but it's still extremely significant. So significant that when those people who can't stop yelling at you about getting the jab say, well, we've mentioned taking care of yourself and losing weight before, it doesn't even come close to exonerating them, because frankly, almost their entire messaging for nearly 2 years should have been on losing weight and doing everything healthy you can to get rid of your status as an obese person. It is the understatement of a lifetime to say that encouraging people to work off their obesity should be a bit more than just a quick side note. It should be the absolute main focus. In fact, think beyond COVID for a second. I know that that's difficult, but beyond COVID, and before COVID was ever a thing, it might be a surprise, but hospitals came near or were at capacity many times, especially when flu season came around. Even back in 2013, I remember hearing about this happening. And guess who was taking up hospital beds with the flu, causing hospitals to overflow? The overweight and the obese. And if there was a shortage of hospital beds, not necessarily from the flu, who was a significant portion of people taking those beds up? Well, overweight or obese people who had heart attacks or strokes or cardiovascular disease or diabetes or a whole litany of other health problems that come from not taking care of your physical body and putting excessive amounts of junk into it. So this is where the focus should be. The benefits of getting people on board with being healthy and being at a healthy weight include, but are absolutely not limited to, making COVID become a near non-issue, no more than any other pandemic that has ever occurred. It would also have long-lasting benefits in regard to hospitals being at or near capacity when it comes to a whole myriad of issues as well, like the ones I just mentioned. It's a win-win scenario on a massive scale that would be more of a net positive in nearly every way in comparison to just getting everyone vaxxed or boosted. And it's good to see CNN kind of coming around on this, or at least being able to muster the courage to mention it. But also, knowing how comfortable that CNN types are with authoritarianism, it would also worry me a bit that they start asking the question, are forced calorie ceilings for the overweight and obese the best thing we can do? Do we force them to jump rope or do push-ups or walk a certain number of steps in every day? Because I don't want that. But taking away personal choice seems to be something that CNN types are very comfortable with. And the people who watch CNN are very comfortable with. But on the other hand, those who are obese are among one of the protected classes. CNN wouldn't want to be accused of fat phobia, for example. But then on the other hand, there is this article we're looking at here where they call them out a little bit. So maybe this is how it starts. Who knows? I don't want it to happen, though. I really sincerely do not want that to happen. But if you are overweight or obese and you, all day, every day, have been screaming about forced vaccinations and forced booster shots and forced the mask and forced the lockdowns. You're not allowed to go for a walk without a mask. You're not allowed to go to the gym, etc., etc. If you are overweight or obese and have been advocating for those things, don't ever think it's impossible that the CNN types and the people in politics won't consider making mandates about how you must lead your life because of how your choices have affected those around you by directly leading you into a hospital bed you otherwise would not have taken up if not for your own personal choices. Again, I do not want that to happen, but stop rooting for those who probably do. Anyway, that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share this video. It's extremely appreciated, and you take it easy.